feels like we haven't gotten a movie that feels sweet and pure in a while. Well, there is one out, and it's called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. What started as a few viral videos in the early 2010s is now a feature film, with Dean Fleischer-Camp returning as director and Jenny Slate returning to voice Marcel. The film follows Marcel, who's living with his grandmother Connie, who's played by Isabella Rossellini. It is told through Camp's documentary filmmaking after he discovers Marcel in the Airbnb he is living at. If you can find a chance to go see this movie, take that opportunity. It is just very warm to watch. The visual gags in this movie are really sharp. Since Marcel is a tiny shell, we get to see how he uses regular items in different ways. It gives us a fun and new perspective from Marcel's world, from his point of view. Sometimes those items and visual gags are obviously used as jokes, but the jokes are all used appropriately. The movie blends humor and sadness, I guess, for lack of a better word, together really well. There are moments in the movie where sadness can hit you, whether it's through a specific scene or a specific line, and then a joke will pop up, and it works well perfectly. It's a way to help the audience ease through tougher times, and it allows the audience to maneuver through their desired emotions with those moments too. The movie is empathetic and kind-hearted. It touches on grief and feeling small while the world around you changes. And the stop motion animation is really impressive. There are times where the camera is still, so the stop motion is a little bit more noticeable, but I think it adds a cute little charm to it. And since it's being filmed like a documentary, there's gonna be a lot of zoom ins, a little out of focus stuff, camera movements out on a whim trying to capture the action. Since that is happening, there's still gonna be stop motion going on through that. And it's impressive how Camp was able to pull this off. I'm not sure if he was literally moving the camera and then moving his like little pieces. I'm not sure how he did it. Maybe he did it in After Effects. I don't know. It's really impressive. Now, sometimes Marcel or Connie are obviously stop motion little pieces. Sometimes they're moving, and then sometimes a bug will come into the frame, and the bug is clearly CGI because you can't control bugs or train bugs like that. But those bugs are CGI, and it's a little bit noticeable. It can feel a little bit out of place if you are trying to really focus on the stop motion, but this is not really a huge gripe for me. I think the bugs, even in this movie, have personality, which is impressive because they don't say anything, they don't even really emote, they're just kind of doing stuff, and they are kind of like their own little characters. Jenny Slate as Marcel is fantastic. Obviously, she did this 10 plus years ago, and she's done voice work before. However, there are no filters being used on this voice. This is all Slate. It's all natural. The same goes for Rossellini, who gives a really tender performance. I just never thought in my entire life I would hear Isabella Rossellini do the 60 minutes tick, 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 tick noise. The score by Disaster Piece is different from this type of movie that you would expect. With a movie like this, with this type of tone, you could expect it just being kind of really quirky and childlike with childish maracas and recorders and stuff. But Disaster Piece isn't going for that. It does have some of that in there, but it's also mostly like ambient synth noises, and it'll come back and forth. Sometimes there's percussion, sometimes there's a little bit more woodwind instruments involved with the synths. One of my tiny little gripes though is the documentary filmmaking style doesn't really serve to the story at times. It's essential to the first act, but it's not as important later on. This movie does take place in like present time, like 2021 or 2022, and some of the footage that they use where there are people talking about Marcel, definitely from like 2010, definitely from the past. And I only know that because Brian Williams does not host the nightly news, and Conan O'Brien also makes a little pop-up, and that's definitely when he was doing his TBS show. He doesn't do that anymore. So it's a tiny little gripe. I'm like, well, that was definitely a long time ago. But you can also see that more so as an Easter egg to back when these videos were super viral. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is poignant, genuinely funny, and fascinating to watch. This film shows the minute things. It gives you a different perspective of the world. Yet it's still touching on existential themes like loneliness, fame, grief, moving forward. The animation is great. There's personality with it. Jenny Slate and Isabella Rossellini are great with their voice talents. The disaster piece music perfectly blends the tone of a little bit of loneliness with quirkiness as well. It really adds to the humor and to the effective, quieter moments. If it's not playing in theaters, definitely be on the lookout for it being on video on demand or on a streaming site soon. Show it to your family. It does not matter how old they are. There are a lot of things that are talked about in this movie, that happened in this movie, that I think anybody can relate to. It is cute, charming. It's a fun movie. I am going to right now give Marcel the Shell with Shoes On a 4 out of 5. Alright, well thank you so much for watching this. If you made it this far, have you seen Marcel the Shell? Did you cry? Did you not cry? I cried. I'll admit that. Let me know what I should review next. If you like what you see, please subscribe. You can like this video. You can comment whatever you want. Make sure you exercise every day. Make sure you drink your milk and have a great day.